Okay. Hi, my name is Walter, and I want to be your next county legislator. District 15. The first question that people ask me is, what is a county legislator? And the easy answer is 17 people are spending $1.8 billion of our tax money. So this district goes from the village of Bronxville all the way almost to the river, to Woodstock Park. And I have been spending many, many hours talking to voters and asking them what their issues are. So I have a small business in Bronxville. We've been there 8 years. We have employed over 75 people. And I have also been the court clerk, and I'm the current treasurer of our library. So I have a lot of experience that I'm bringing to this position. And I want to point out that everybody has a first race. No one is born a legislator. And my opponent has been in office for 22 years, and I think it's time for a change. So I hope you'll consider my experience and my ideas tonight, and I look forward to a lively debate.
Good evening, everybody. I was here at 7 o'clock hoping to be one of the first speakers, and we were put at the end. Thanks to Hannah, Steve. But I'm Gordon Burrows. I happen to be the Republican, Conservative, Independent, and Reform Party candidate. I know a lot of you as I look around the room. As far as my background, first of all, I'm a father of 5. I know what it is to go and raise children in Westchester County. I happen to be a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for over 30 years. I happen to have been a councilman in the city of Yonkers, discussing a lot of the issues that are before you now. I happen to be your county legislator now for the last 12 years. In the Yonkers City Council, I was the majority leader for 7 out of the 10 years, dealing with a budget of over $1 billion. On the county, I've been dealing with a budget over $1.8 billion. As an attorney, for over 30 years, I've been dealing with my own private practice, and in all due respect to my opponent, running a cheese shop and having 75 people over 8 years is not really running a budget of $1.8 billion. You just don't have that experience. Before I was a council member, I was a public member of the Emergency Control Act, dealing with millions of dollars and a red. So I gained some experience before I actually became a councilman. And to try to make the leap to a county legislator, I believe, is wrong. You just don't know how to run a budget like that, just like that. I've been an effective legislator, whether I was on the Yonkers City Council or on the county board. You haven't had a tax increase in the last 7 years. That's working cooperatively with the county executive. I didn't vote for 5 years before that. I didn't vote on a tax increase. And that was because we had Andy Spano in there. Remember, we had our county taxes increased by over 48% under Andy Spano. It was crazy what was going on. They said, we can't afford this. So the same budgets that Rob Astorino proposed as the county executive, where we haven't had increases in 7 years, are the same that I proposed when Andy Spano was there. I look forward to speaking more about this.
Okay, I'll ask the first question. What plans do you recommend for county facilities located within Yonkers? For example, the Spring Ridge and Tibbetts pools, trailways, and the road system. So it's kind of a general question.
Okay, one of the reasons that I'm motivated to run for this office is driving around this county. We do not have adequate roads. We don't even have potholes filled. I am driving south on the Bronx River Parkway, which Mr. Burrows seems to think that I don't understand that there are some roads that are county and some roads that are municipal. I do understand that. And if I'm going to have a pothole that knocks out my tire, I mean, we need to have things that work in this county. And there are things on the cross county that look like, the guardrails look like they've been there since the 70s. I mean, we need to invest. We need smart roads. We need roads that have solar panels in them. We need roads that when you're sitting at a light at 2 o'clock in the morning, it knows that you are the only one in the intersection, and we can go forward in a positive manner. So we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the investment. And when I looked at this budget at the county level, they are spending $100,000 a year on the county road repair. The city of Yonkers spends $2 million. And what this budget has done, and I wonder if Mr. Burrows is working for us or Mr. Astorino. Because what we have seen is we have seen all of the proper operating budget expenses pushed onto the capital budget. And you know, if you put your credit card, if you put your cable bill on your credit card, you're gonna be spending more in the long run. So it's wonderful to say no property tax levy increase, but what we're doing is we're increasing our borrowing, which means we're increasing our interest payments. We need to invest in our infrastructure. That is the most important thing that the county legislature does. We go across municipal lines, so there's a village and a city, and that is true for 13 out of the 17 districts in this county. We are supposed to be planning for the future. We should be working together, and the planning department also has been decimated under Mr. Astorino.
I believe the question was regarding parks and the trailway. When I became county legislator, the prior county legislator, Lou Mazziello, did not want to open up the trailway. I thought differently. I spoke with some of the community leaders, and despite some of the community leaders thinking it shouldn't be open, I thought it should. There was a connection that we wanted back from the Bronx all the way up past Westchester County, and I was told we can't open it. We shouldn't open it. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be crime. People are going to come into homeowners' backyards, and the facts proved differently. We wound up, that was the last section that had been closed. We opened it up, and it's proven to be very successful, very safe, and it's been a great trailway for everybody. The question was about pools in Westchester County and the parks. We have one of the best park systems in New York State. Wilson Pool, we wound up investing a lot of money in Wilson Pool, made that a wave pool. Tippett's Park was falling apart, a dilapidated pool. We spent $16 million to make that a river trail pool. We just recently opened up Spring Ridge Pool. Now, that was something that Rob Astorino and I disagreed to. So, you know, my opponent winds up saying that I'm a rubber stamp for Rob Astorino. That's not true. I'm a rubber stamp when it comes to taxes. I agree with Rob Astorino. If you want to raise taxes, Ruth, raise taxes all you want. I have dead set, whether I was on the Yonkers City Council, we had 0 budgets. We eliminated 2/3 of the Yonkers transfer tax. All of those things, they came back after I left. If there's something that I pride myself on, is having fiscal integrity and making sure that taxes are low as possible. We as homeowners have to be able to live here. So that's been a hallmark of my legislative career. I've been running for 22 years. My opponent still hasn't attacked me on anything. After 22 years, you can't attack somebody who's an incumbent? I think that says something. I've been honest, I've been fair, I'm hardworking, I've been right on the tax issues. Our parks are better than they've ever been. So I don't know what my opponent's attacking on me. I don't think she even knows. So quite frankly, time has gone. Thanks.
Question. What is your opinion of the current level of public transportation in the county, including commuter busing and accessible facilities?
Well, you know, I know everybody's going to say it can be improved, it can be better. We already know one of the nice things about Westchester County is that we have transportation. We have 3 trailways, 3 railroads. We have Westchester Airport. We've got a lot of things. We got the Westchester bus system. It's one of the best systems out of all. At one point in time, Rob Astorino, in an effort to try to cut expenses and so forth, tried to cut certain of the bus routes. Again, not being a rubber stamp for Rob Astorino, we were able to open up the 20 on Central Avenue. We kept it going. I mean, can we improve? Yeah, but I think overall our transportation system in Westchester County is a pretty good one. I think it's improved. I think we can improve it even more, but we have put a lot of money in capital improvement plans in order to enhance those. I've spoken with Liberty Lines, which is basically on the border of my district. I used to have a pretty good relationship with Mr. Bonacci, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, who recently passed away, and with the other people on the bus system. But we're constantly working on it. I believe our railroad system and so forth is pretty good.
I'm very interested in transportation. I don't understand why the buses can't take us why they don't take Venmo. I don't understand why there aren't shelters for bus stops. What we are looking at is a slow degrading of our infrastructure. And, okay, so we wanna talk about, your record. We have the Spring Ridge Pool, which has been closed since 2011. It's wonderful to talk about the North 60, which is not relevant to this district. You know, we have these, there's nothing a developer loves more than an empty field. Okay, but let's talk about redeveloping Yonkers. Let's talk about the Central Avenue and Nemahan Avenue. We need people who are looking at District 15. District 15 has the Spring Ridge Pool. Has it been opened fully? No. You know, I went there as a kid. I grew up, and my best friend lived on Rumsey Road, and we would take the Beeline bus at age 12 because it was safe and it was easy. And it wasn't over $1, so you didn't have to have a dollar bill. You just had quarters. So my point is, we don't have somebody fighting for us. What we have here is somebody who's so happy to just let Mr. Astorino set the entire agenda. And what we want is somebody going up there and making a fuss. What is it that this district needs? And I don't think that my opponent has done that, not for 7 years and not for 12 years. Because you know what? The second question people ask me, when I go to the door, when I call them on the phone, they say, who are you running against? Half the people do not know this person's name. And the other half of the people, they say, oh, I knew his father. So I don't think he's been present in this district, and I don't think he's done what we need to have done, which is improve this district. Thank you.
Okay. There are 4 county legislators that represent Yonkers at this time. And how do you see yourself working with those other legislators for the common goal of making Yonkers a greater city? And what would be your main emphasis in terms of doing that?
So again, I have been in Gray Oaks. I have had a $105 parking ticket because there isn't space to park on the side of the road. Every single spot is taken. What we need is regional planning. That is what the county is for, is regional planning. And what we have here is somebody who's not paying attention to what we need for the future. We need a 21st century transportation system. And that's what I think we should be working on. The 4 legislators of Yonkers, which also includes a little bit of Mount Vernon and the village of Bronxville, we need to be talking about an east-west transit link so that we can actually move forward into the 21st century. You can get federal funding. They just built a brand new trolley system for 4 miles in St. Louis. It's people that are thinking about the future. People built the High Line in Manhattan. Where are the visionaries for Yonkers? And that's what you do at the county level. We work on longer projects, we work on bigger projects. They put the Tappan Zee Bridge up under budget and on before time. We need something like that for this district and for the city of Yonkers. And what I want to do is I want to work together with all the representatives for Yonkers, and I want to make it a better place. So we have, we should have a competition. Yonkers Avenue, do you want a light rail that goes between the Metro North Harlem and the Metro North Hudson? Okay, they don't want it, let's talk about Palmer Avenue. We don't want it there, let's talk about the cross county. People have to be planning for this. We can't plan when they cut the planners from 100 to 20, when the CSEA doesn't have a contract for 6 or 7 years. This slogan, the 7-year Astorino slogan, has starved this county of infrastructure, planning, and future. The future. Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Walter wound up saying nobody knows Gordon Burroughs. I don't think that's true. Until 3 months ago, I didn't know Ruth Walter. You said you were involved in Bronxville.
I haven't been in office for 12.
You want to interrupt me too?
Yeah.
In any event, I think the question was, how do you deal with your county, your comrades in Yonkers? I have a very good relationship with Virginia, who happens to be the Democratic legislator, Gene Perez, the Democratic legislator, working in a bipartisan spirit with Rob Astorino. The whole big concept here is, can we work in a bipartisan fashion The Republicans, there's 17 people on the county board. 9 of them happen to be Democrats, 8 of them are Republicans. They hold the majority. But because the Democrats really don't have the ability to work with one another themselves, 2 of the Democrats crossed over, and we work in a bipartisan fashion. I work with Ken Jenkins. I expect I'm going to work with Mr. Johnson, who will more likely replace him. I've worked with Dave Tubiolo, before that Bernice Spreckman. I've worked. I happen to hold the position of leadership, both when I was on the Yonkers City Council and now on the county board. I've constantly worked with my colleagues, and particularly Virginia, a Democrat, because it's right for the county. And if you want to go and diminish what Rob Astorino has done on the taxes, just recognize, everybody, that over the period of 7 years, if your household has an average assessment of $12,000, the assessment average in Bronxville would have even higher, you've saved under Rob Astorino over $900. And this next budget, which he's declared is going to be another zero, you're going to save over $1,000. I can tell you right now, working with the Democrats on the board, and Ruth wants to be one of them, they wanted to raise the taxes. They wanted to raise the taxes at least 2% every year. That's $1,000 out of your pocket. And some of them were talking about raising it 7%.
We're going to have closing remarks now. I believe starting, so who wants to start the closing remarks?
It's been my pleasure to be the county legislator in this area. Again, as Ruth had indicated, it's the entire village of Bronxville, northeast and northwest Yonkers. Ruth said that she's been walking around the community, getting to learn. I've known this community. I was born in Yonkers. I'm a lifelong resident of Westchester County. I lived in the Low Colonial Heights section of Yonkers all my life. I was public school in Yonkers. My children obviously lived here until I wound up separating from my wife for the first 10 years of their lives. This is my home. It's something that I've really cared about. When I was a Yonkers City Councilman, I was there for the people of Yonkers. Now as a county legislator, I'm there for the people of Yonkers and the village of Bronxville. It's been my honor. And if you want to bring up my father and say people remember my father, I'm happy that they remember my father who's been gone 20 years ago. But if you want to say that I've been winning the last 20 years because of my father, shame on you, Ruth. But if I could be half of the man my father was, I'd be happy. So as far as I'm concerned, I love the city of Yonkers. I've been there for the city of Yonkers. My philosophy on taxes is right for the city of Yonkers, is right for you. When I was the majority, time already.
This is a little prop. I don't know if anybody here knows what this is. This is about what was going on 22 years ago when my opponents first ran for office. This is the old system. We need a new system. We need innovation. We need ideas. I am an entrepreneur. I'm sorry that this doesn't actually garner any respect by my opponent, but I have built with my husband a business from scratch, and we are expanding. We talk all the time about property taxes, but that is only 1/3 of the county budget. You have 1/3 property tax, you have 1/3 sales tax, and you all know we need to invest in businesses that get sales tax. We need a small business incubator so that people who want to start a business can have some guidance to start a business, open a new and empty storefronts, generate jobs. We have generated 75 jobs. I'm sorry that isn't impressive enough to my opponent, but we have given high school and college students that first job. Thank you. And I am a mother. I'm a wife of 24 years. I have lived in Westchester almost all of my life. I moved away for some time. But I'm asking you to think about what we need for the future, not for the past. Thank you.